Hello, hello.
Hey, guy.
How are you doing?
Phobic and confused. Dental is a really mixed up thing.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
It's like, there's something I'm afraid to do, and I know I'm afraid to do it, but I thought that's what I had to do. But then everybody's prices change. And dentists never agree with each other, et cetera, et cetera.
No, of course not.
Yeah, it's like, and I don't know if I'm acting out of fear or prudence anymore. I've got a question.
Sure.
What I've been talking about for a while. One of the important end goals for Osprey is to become a wish-granting ASMR. It doesn't have to be a mechanic during the game, but that's part of the storyline here.
Okay.
In order to become that, he needs to go level 2 Paladin, level 18 Sorcerer. I believe. Let me check that again. It's been a while since I looked at that. Because he needs the 9th level spell. Which happens either at 17 or 18. Oh, it happens at 17. So it could actually be 3rd level Paladin and then 17th level. But I preferred 2nd and 18th on that. Yeah, I did.
Okay.
However, the urgent thing, as opposed to the important thing, is that the party is weak on the front line. So what I'm asking you on Discord is, if we go through 20 levels, is something going to change so that we're not leveling the same way anymore?
Oh, okay. I had not, when I put together the rules, I was just thinking, 5e mechanics is it doesn't matter what class you are, everybody hits levels at the same, XP rate, and they still use XP even though a lot of campaigns, including this one and the Sunday campaign, use the milestone rule instead of raw XP. So I had just put in mechanical terms how much XP it would take you to get from level, to level 21 through level 30. Because I created something and just said, you go there. I had not been thinking in terms of what class you level in. And so I think, if you were a 5th level paladin, and we got, and then you started going, what was the other one? Sorcerer you were thinking of?
The 2 classes, paladin into divine soul sorcerer.
Yeah. Okay. So if we got to, if you went through level 5, then we would need to get to potentially level 24. And I don't know, I'm really a little bit fuzzy because I want to see where you guys, what direction you guys take the campaign as we start exploring more of these different storylines.
Right. But that's the same kind of fuzzy as exists to getting to level 17. As exists to getting to level 17, you really have the same kind of fuzziness in your production, don't you? The unknown future.
It's kind of the unknown future. Yes, I know that characters will have to be probably greater than level 20 to face the final boss, because I know who the final boss is, and I know what you're gonna find when you eventually encounter that final boss.
So there's a defined ending.
There is a defined ending. It's just I have mapped out, I want to dip into this campaign for a little bit, so we'll do this section of this campaign, then that will flow into this section of this next campaign, and as we flow between campaigns, a little bit more of the background underlying story will begin to emerge, and you'll start to find little things along the way that are related to the overall story instead of just the specific story of that campaign.
Are you saying you don't know what the last level of the characters will be?
That is correct. At this point, I do not, because I've got something really special planned for the final adventure. And it's going to be kind of a sprawling thing where you're working through trying to get to the final boss that you need to get to. And I just kind of like to, as we get closer, I'll figure out how many levels that's going to take. So let's put it this way. You guys will be at least 21st level. And you might be somewhere between, you might be as high as 25th level by the time you finish.
So it's a bet. Okay. In this case, I choose the important over the urgent. That's okay. So now I got to figure out how to do this. Because this will be my first time going multi-class in a charactermancer type of deal. Does it just lead you through? Is it just like menu options on that?
Yes, okay. I believe it is.
Okay, so he's plugging in now. So we plug in the 900 to make the 3rd level.
Mm-hmm.
There's the gadget. Now, but I don't want Paladin. So how do I find this? Back.
Welcome, viewer.
Right here. I can't go further than this. How do I make it not do Paladin? Back. Character will be level 3, Paladin 3. Okay, something. It wanted me to do something else. No, it's not just straight menu. There's nowhere of this is where you select the other class on this page, which is where it would have to be.
Okay. I think what you need to do is, if you're not already, go into Osprey's character sheet.
Yeah, I'm there.
Okay, then you see the 4 little buttons there right below your class and level information, the core, the bio, the spells, and the little gear.
Yeah.
If you click that little gear.
The gear. Aha. This is new.
Then, if you scroll down...
Launch level plus character mancer.
I believe that's the one you want to do. You cannot until you have... okay.
I think that's what I just did using another method. I'll go through the buttons and see if that's true. The next... No, it's still giving me Paladin. It still wants it to be Paladin if I do it that way. Maybe I can't imagine flinging through the Paladin description and finding the button there. Nope. Nope. That's not how you do it.
Okay, so...
Okay, I'm going to start looking stuff up online. 5e. Roll 20, character mancer, multi-class. How to. using shaped? This doesn't make sense. Maybe somewhere else. Gear options. Second class. Second class sorcerer. Level 1. Subclass.
Hello?
Hey.
Oh.
Hi. Vernon, answer my DM.
What's that?
I think I remember correctly, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, you do.
Okay.
Because we were going with the thing that was intuitive for you.
Yeah.
So it was like, yeah, we came around to that. Although in the other game, it's tell me what you wanted. What was the Squeaker's original idea before you got jammed into fighter?
Rogue, I believe.
Do you want to play that Squeaky Squeakers that way? When we get
This
there?
isn't squeaky.
No, this isn't Squeaky, but on Sunday, when we have that other game in the interim.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, just think about that.
What, so you're saying I shouldn't play Allura no more?
No. I'm saying we have the two games, right, on Sunday. One we're playing regularly is the Allura game. But remember, there's also the monster game that we'll eventually get to.
Oh, right.
So for that, the Kobold is available. So I'm asking you, if you get there, do you want your Squeaky Squeakers the way you originally planned the Squeaky Squeakers? Or did you not think? Just think about that. I'm trying to figure out how to multi-class on this thing right now. So it's not really important, but if you got a Squeaky Squeak, if you're gonna do Squeaky Squeakers, then I'm gonna have to change my guy, which is not a big deal at all because I'm having a hard time getting behind anything on a monster campaign.
What are you thinking?
Oh, I've got I shared with you my video one time about the villain.
Yeah.
Whoop whoop. That guy.
Okay.
But he's all kind of mechanics and style and no real substance. So I'm not attached to him, but that's a thief. So if you want to move Squeaky Squeakers in, I can move him out.
Okay. I think I figured it out, Vern.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So where you are you in the Charactermancer?
I'm currently under the gear not in the Charactermancer. I'm currently in the gear on the character sheet.
Okay. When you clicked that button
To go to the Charactermancer?
to go to the Charactermancer levels, did it take you into the Charactermancer?
Yes.
Okay. Then it took you to, is it on the start or on the levels bubble?
It's on the text start. It says at the bottom, get started by clicking next.
Yes. So Now, it automatically wants to make you
Paladin.
another level of paladin.
Right.
So if you scroll down a little bit, there's something under subclass features. There's something called multi-class. You see that? So then click on, I think it's click on the plus. And then it will let you choose what class you want to be.
I clicked on the plus and it made 2 out of 4.
Okay, but it opened up a little panel where it has a button where you choose and it drops down and it shows you all the different classes, right?
Yeah, it did, but it didn't label it very well. But
Well,
I found that.
Yeah, okay.
Level 0 plus 1. Hit points average. Sorcerer's Origin. Sorcerer's Origin it doesn't have. No. No. Choose. Okay, I can't choose Divine because it's not in the thing. But other than that, I'm okay, so I can put in that manually.
Yeah.
Sorcerer plus level 1. Oh, and that's wrong. Because it defaulted out to 1 and it didn't change that when I put that in. So that would have advanced me 2 levels. Now I think this will do what we want it to do.
Okay, if you go back up to your first class,
And
it's
put it
automatically trying to, yes.
Yeah, I already changed it to 0.
Okay. So now it should, yes. So now it should be level 1 or level what? 2? Paladin
have
level
another
1.
problem.
What?
Because it does not have Divine Soul in it, it will not automatically add the cleric spells to it.
Right, which you can add manually.
You can do that. What you do with the compendium?
What source does Divine Soul come from?
I think that's the Xanthar's. Divine Soul Sorcerer. What book is Divine Sorcerer?
You can look it up.
Yeah,
you can
it's
look it
Xanthar.
up and okay, all right. So then Xanathar, that'll be probably next on my list of things to get for Roll20 is Xanathar's.
Okay, so I get the spells through the compendium.
You can find cleric spells through the compendium, yes.
Okay.
And you can just add those
Cantrip
based on whatever you would normally get.
Great.
Just use the thing to tell you what you would get for Divine Soul Sorcerer. All right. Okay, welcome everybody. Welcome. I'm going to turn the music off. Welcome to chat. Welcome to players. I am DM Galabond, and I am joined this evening by our intrepid players who are here for the game tonight, and I am going to do this, and I am going to do this. I'm going to sign out of here. I'm going to go sign in here so that I will show up correctly on this game. All right, launch the game. That's what was missing from a game. I was logged into both computers as the DM and not as the... Okay. All right, so when we last left our players last time, our heroes, they were fleeing the camp of the cultists, and they had gone to they had headed back to Greenest along with the monk Leosin Erlenthar, whom they had rescued from the clutches of the cultists. So I'm going to take us back to the map of Greenest. We kind of left it that you guys had run away and were going to make your way back, and you had set a fire, I believe, in a part of the camp as a diversion to help you get out. Leosin, even though you had healed him up and he had shown a surprising amount of strength, he very quickly got tired on the way back to the town, and you can tell that really the torture and everything that they have put him under, the questioning and whatnot, has really taken a toll on him physically, and he doesn't have a whole lot of stamina. So we'll just say that you guys managed to, half carry him, half drag him, help him get back to the town. And then he immediately collapsed at the keep in the care of the folks who have been looking after the wounded there in the city. You were met in the town by some familiar faces. Your friend, the governor, was very pleased to see you coming back to the town, Governor Nighthill. And then you also were met by Nessim Waladra, who is one of the monks that's part of the group that was with Leosin. And he and the rest of his companions are extremely excited. They are overjoyed to see Leosin back with them, and they have scraped together a little bit of coin, and between them the monks have amassed a total of 100 gold that they would like to give you as thanks for bringing Leosin back. More importantly, and probably more of interest to the party, is that the governor has said that he has the payment arranged for you that you all had discussed with him before you went off to scout the camp. He is very eager to have you give your scouting report to him and to the Castellan of the keep, and then maybe have a put your heads together a little bit to see perhaps what you can glean from it. So after you've had a chance to have a short rest on getting back to the keep, and you've had some breakfast and whatnot, you are bustled off to basically it's like a meeting hall within the keep that probably passes for a great hall here, even though this is a rather small keep. and the governor and Escobar, his Castellan, are there, and there are guards set on the doors, and everybody else is ushered out except you all. Leosin is not there because he's still recovering and under the care of the caretakers. And you see there are seats arranged around, and on the table in front of each chair, there is a nice sized wash leather coin or coin purse. And it's probably actually more like a small bag than a purse. And each one of them is obviously fairly full of something. But you probably have to go sit down and interact with them before you figure out exactly what's in there. So who would like to begin?
That is a good question.
Probably would be typically me, but I'm kind of in the middle of.
Okay, somebody else can.
Leveling up.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah, I could do it if you want to. I could talk to the governor.
Okay. So you guys all get seated, and the governor says, "Oh, friends, so glad to see that you have made it back, and it was a great stroke of luck that you could rescue Leosin, although that man looks like he's suffered some harsh treatment at the hands of those cultists." And he especially looks at Bell. He says, "And some of you look like you've seen better days as well."
That's a story for another time. Looking over at Belle and just nodding my head.
She isn't in the best mood, so she'll just shoot a glare at, like, the ill talk about her, and then just huddle against Bellinger and just try and make herself not exist.
Try to be invisible, okay?
Little side comment. You're a little too big to hide like that. But no. Buck really on this case had nothing to do with it. It was just pure strategy, tactics. And yes, they really took it out of him. They literally beat him to within they beat him to within an inch of his life.
Oh, dear goodness. Well, did he say what they... Was he strong enough to tell you what they wanted to know from him?
Well, he told us he was trying to research the cult and that we were kind of, how do you put it, interfering with his plans a little bit. That he had it handled, and apparently he didn't have it handled.
Well, his traveling companions told us much the same story. They feared that, he has poured so much of his time and energy into researching this cult and what their aims are and what they hope to achieve and where they are operating, that he's kind of almost convinced himself, they believe, into thinking that he knows what they are capable of and knows how he can outwit and survive them. But it just sounds like a bunch of foolishness to me. Sounds like a good way of getting yourself killed, going and mucking about with cults. I mean, any cult that can have a full-grown dragon summoned to their aid is nothing to be trifled with. For heaven's sake.
Question, guys. Did we ever out of game, did we ever figure out how they were able to summon the dragon? Oh yeah, I think if I remember some of it, that Gally said that they made a deal with him or something.
Yeah, they basically hired him on to do this job for them.
Yeah, Mulek heard the dragon talking to those leaders, and he was demanding more pay because we had injured him, and he flew away. So basically, he was hired by these leaders to attack this village.
Did you say that out loud to the governor?
Yes.
Oh.
Oh, they were able to. Oh, that's. I'm not sure what bothers me more, knowing that they are capable of being allied with dragons, or that dragons could be so mercenary. Oh, that's.
For the right amount of coin, a dragon can be anything you want it to be.
Apparently so. But I just think they're terrifying, no matter what else they are. Woo.
They're immaculate creatures. I mean, it's really. I'm not going into the depth of dragons, but but no, it's yeah. I mean, it was interesting getting into the camp and seeing the way they do things. I mean, they're insane. I mean, we can all agree on that one. But I mean, they had a little bit of. I mean, I have to give them credit. They had a little bit of structure to them, and that was kind of scary. Actually, I thought they would just be a bunch of drunken idiots and stupid, but no, they actually had some structure, and it's like they planned methodically everything they were doing.
Oh goodness. Well, if you can, did you get a count of approximately how many there were in the camp, and did you have any idea of the breakdown? I think we saw kobolds and mostly humans attacking the town, but did you see any other races, or did you get an idea of how many humans versus how many kobolds there might be?
Now, DM, out of game, with my keen mind, would I be able to have counted as we walked in and noticed and paid attention to how many there actually were that I could see?
Yes, and you could have made an educated guess that there were somewhere between a total of somewhere between probably 90 and 110 or so cultists. So that would mean the kobolds and the humans that were wearing the cult regalia, about 90 to 110 of those. There was another number of what appeared to be non-combatant camp followers or camp workers. Maybe they were there by choice. Maybe they were, coerced into helping the cult. They certainly didn't, they obviously thought you were cultists, so they weren't really treating you one way or the other, just more or less staying out of your way, like they were staying out of the way of everybody else. And then in terms of breakdown, you would probably say there's maybe 30 to 35% of them would be kobolds, and the rest would be what passed for humans. So vast majority of humans. There might have been an occasional half-elf thrown in there, or a very, very human presenting half-orc or something like that. Not a lot of, certainly you didn't see people like halflings or dwarves in that, or gnomes as part of the cult.
So yeah, Governor, there, by my estimate, this is just a let's say educated guess here. There was about a 90 to 110 cultists that would be mixed with, humans and kobolds. There were a few what I call camp stragglers, just people that were either there by force or by choice, that kind of tended the camp. There were a few, higher ranking officials, some dragonborn. Then they had some animals. What were those animals called again, Gally? The little lizard people.
Yeah, they called those. Let me just double check in the notes. Yeah, they called those things the ambush drakes.
So they had some little drakes that were very vicious little things, actually, surprisingly. I wouldn't want to be caught on their bad side when they're hungry. And yeah, that's about the breakdown of the camp.
Oh goodness. Well, did you get a sense of how many leaders there are of this group?
3. Is that right? Yeah, I think there's 3.
Okay. I think we spied 2 of the leaders here at the town. So there was the woman, and then there was that half dragon monstrosity, and he kind of casts a glance over towards Urgal and shudders a little bit, remembering how viciously that guy cut down Urgal and left him for dead. But then what was the other leader? You say there were 3.
Out of game, Gally. Wasn't it that you had the Dragonborn? You had was it a guy and a girl that was there?
There was the half dragon. Then there was the
elf, the half elf, Frulon,
and
the black, and the black dragonborn.
And the black dragonborn. Yes.
So, okay, there were 3. There you go.
Yes.
So I guess Mulek chimed in.
My unkeen mind is helping Thaldor with his.
Oh, good. Okay. You have a keen mind too. Okay,
no, I don't. Awesome. No, my unkeen mind.
Oh, your unkeen mind. There you go.
Is helping your keen mind.
There you go. Thaldor's a little tired. I just woke up 20 minutes before this game.
I pull out my little spellbook notebook that I've been keeping notes.
Yeah.
Thaldor glances at that and he realizes whose that is.
Yeah, it looks familiar. You've heard stories about that.
It's not.
Oh, it's
his.
not that one.
It's it's not his. I don't have his spell book, but I have one spell book. A spell book, yes.
Okay, it reminds you then of one that you've heard stories of.
Oh, ones that I've seen. Okay. Remember? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Uncle Benedict come back quite often.
Okay, yeah, you can tell it's not the same one, but
right.
It clearly, it looks like somebody along the way was probably inspired by a Benedam spell book, and then this one that Mulek has put together may be inspired by that one. So it's kind of like a second or third generation inspiration from it.
That's fair. But so, yeah, there was the half-elven woman, as Mulek was saying. There's the black dragonborn, and then the other leader.
Yes. Oh, goodness. Well, now did you see where they had their command center? Was it in a tent, or was it in a more permanent structure? where did they seem to operate from?
Out of a cave.
Out of a cave. I suppose it's too much to hope that you managed to get into that cave yourselves.
No.
Do you have any sense of whether Leosin was able to get into the cave?
Oh yeah, they dragged him in there, and that's where they did their unsightly things to him.
Oh, well, then may the gods give him a quick recovery. It'll be important to learn what he knows from there. Well, you all have brought us very good information. Did you? Now knowing the strength is wonderful. Knowing the breakdown and knowing the leadership is of vital importance. Did you happen to get any sense of where perhaps their next target might be?
I did grab the. Was that like what I grabbed? The intel, wasn't that like troop movements and stuff, or was it just like inner camp stuff?
Well, it was. You'd have to go and look through it, and as you look through it, you find that it's not written in common. What languages does Falador have?
Well, because I picked as my third level, I went with Mastermind. I got 2 extra languages. So I know Common, Draconic, Elvish, Thieves' Cant, and Undercommon.
Okay. Well, it is in fact written in Draconic, which kind of makes sense for a dragon, a cult of the dragon. Little bit fewer common folk outside the cult would know Draconic. And what you learn from it is you learn that it is a inventory. And it's an inventory, and it's got lists of names of squad leaders, and some of those squad leaders clearly look like they're kobold names, and some look like more Sword Coast human names. And it puts those squad leaders related to towns, and it has a tally of what they have brought in terms of treasure. And there is a list of about 16 squad leaders that are associated with Greenest, and there is a partial list of what has been brought in, but it doesn't look like they've finished tallying up everything that they brought in. And it's very curious because they put a name of an item. They put the gold piece value in terms of they actually have 2 columns that list a gold piece value. There's 1 gold piece value that is labeled water deep gold pieces, and then there's another gold piece value that is labeled ritual gold pieces. And those are not always the same. In fact, it looks like the values that are non-metallic, non-artwork usually have a lower ritual gold piece value than a water deep value. Items that are artwork or metallic tend to have a higher ritual gold piece value than a Waterdeep gold piece value.
Well, Mr. Salador, what's his name? Thaldor.
Thaldor.
Mr. That's difficult. Mr. Saldor's, yeah.
It's hard for him to say his accent.
Yes.
Kind of giggle.
For me to say in his accent, Thaldor.
Yes, I giggle. Just like snicker.
Tarador.
That's me to snickering. I'm the one.
Taradore.
Mr. Thalador. Did they not say they were going to the temple?
Yeah, they did. They're trying to bring back their dragon god. Which I should know this, but
they are going.
I'm having a bad day. Well, yeah, they're
Tiamat.
There you go. See, you're like, I love you.
Tiamat. They're going to take things from Temple of Harvest God.
Oh.
They believe it is rich with relics.
So that was the focus of their attack. They thought that the temple here would have items of great value. Well, that answers the question of why they were here.
What is Harvest God? Which is Harvest God?
Oh, well, we have a Temple of Shantae here in town, of course. All of the farmers around the green fields venerate Shantae to bring favorable growing conditions and keep the storms from being too bad, so the crops don't get ruined.
Shantae.
So this so it looks like they were basically keeping a ledger. And are my eyes deceiving me? Are they doing double entry bookkeeping? This is an extremely organized cult. You are right.
I did say they were organized.
They give entry to cash and capital. They're doing it wrong. Should be on cash basis.
Well, nonetheless, so you say their ultimate aim is to bring back Tiamat? Bring back Tiamat from where? I mean, Tiamat is... Everybody knows that Tiamat is rules in the 9 hells. She has her own level there. And what do they mean, bring her back? I do not understand this.
I would imagine bring her back from the 9 hells. I mean, that would make sense to me. If they're going to perform this ultra ritual and they need so much, wealth to do it, I imagine they're trying to bribe Asmodeus, I guess.
Whoa. They cannot be serious. They intend to bring Tiamat in her person to the natural world? That's insanity.
They say they will rule with Tiamat.
Well, they also say that they don't mind being killed by Tiamat, that they'd give their lives for Tiamat. So it's a little insane, but they're like, we will gladly give our lives for Tiamat and worship and thinking they will rule with Tiamat when Tiamat would probably just obliterate them all and everything in existence. But hey, what do I know?
Oh, no, do not sell yourself short, Mr. Thaldor. That is exactly what Tiamat would do. At least that's what all of the clerics and all the sages that I have ever heard accounted wise will say, is that Tiamat's just simply a god of greed and destruction. It's like she wishes to possess all that is beautiful, and all that is not, she just destroy. And that includes among her followers too. She's just greed personified and destruction. Oh, no. Oh, this is terrible. This is terrible. Oh.
Sir.
Yes.
You know what things are in Harvest Temple would summon a dragon?
Well, I mean no disrespect to our clergy, who did you know that over there at the temple, did you know that brother okay, that brother what is the guy's name? Brother Falcon Moon, over at the Temple of Shantae, he managed to save some 50 souls by keeping them inside and down low, so that they could not be seen. They would have been slaughtered if it hadn't been for his bravery. Near the very end of the siege, some kobolds actually broke into the temple, and they beat poor Brother Falcon Moon and stabbed him with their spears and daggers several times, leaving him for dead as they looted the altar. But the folk were safe, and then after the bandits left, they quickly rushed and stabilized the priest before they brought him to the healers for recovery. But if it had not been for him, we would have had many more people die in this attack on the town. But that is, I'm sorry. I'm getting away from my point. My point is, you asked what would be of value to summon a dragon goddess. Listen to the words, dragon goddess. What in a temple of a rural agricultural community like Greenest would be valuable enough to summon a dragon goddess? Nothing, I tell you. Nothing. They would have to raid 10,000 temples of Shantae of this size in order to accumulate enough wealth to appease a dragon goddess. And this may be the most valuable items in our town, but if they wish to do this, they will have to be sacking the entire Sword Coast.
Maybe from what I've got here, that might just be their plan.
Oh,
I believe,
yes.
and I believe I heard they are after all of the lesser god relics.
Oh, the lesser god. Oh my goodness. Hey, welcome, Drats.
That's how they referred it. The lesser god relics.
Lesser god relics.
So from putting this together, looking at this list here, I'm just sitting here staring at this list while I'm talking to this man. I'm thinking to myself, putting two and two together, this must be one heck of a ritual. And you're talking about, like, this would, I mean, it took some elaborate planning. I'll give them that. But Thaldor's just sitting here thinking, what in goodness gracious are they trying to, I mean, I don't know the details of the ritual, but I'm just thinking from what I know of lore, and I can make a history check if you want me to, that that they literally, are they trying to, in order to bring her back, barter with Osmodeus, or are they just trying to just seriously just do like a summoning ritual?
Okay, I'm going to ask for two different roles, and presuming that this knowledge is being shared among the group, people can make the rolls according to the strengths of their skills. I'm going to ask for a nature check to see if a history check to see if you recognize the names of some of the towns. The towns are actually written in Common, but everything else is written in Draconic, so you guys can see the names of the towns. And then I'm going to ask for a religion check to see who might know anything about the ritual. Or a ritual like this.
Well, outside of character, we know that they're attacking a northern city next, right?
We know that they are
20 on religion, but I have a +5 to history and got a 7, but I have a natural 20 to religion.
They're intending to ride north with the treasure and near Neverwinter.
Yes, they're headed north. You're not sure. They didn't. They just said going near Neverwinter. So maybe they're going to a camp outside of Neverwinter, and if they were going to be attacking a city the size of Neverwinter, it would probably have to take several bands the size of this camp to pull that off, because Neverwinter is a much larger walled city.
Yeah, they definitely said near Neverwinter.
So maybe there's like another camp up there, or maybe there's something else. Maybe they're not going to attack Neverwinter. Maybe they're doing something else. But they definitely were headed north. Okay. The history check. Thaldor, the names of the towns on that manifest are all towns that are, looks like the earliest ones are in the Kingdom of Amn, which is south of the green fields and south of those mountains. And then the more recent ones are in the green fields area. So it looks like this group has been working their way north and operating for a couple of 10 days. So they've been attacking, areas, and then gradually moving north and attacking more areas and gradually moving north. And because they've been operating in Amn, there's not really good kingdom to kingdom communication. There's not like diplomatic wizards posted in the throne rooms of the different kingdoms that send messages back and forth. So it might not have been obvious that they were coming this way, but from their records, it seems like that's what they were doing. Now, from the ritual side of things.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. The nat 20.
Yeah, from the ritual side of things, you have heard stories about summoning evil gods from the hells to the natural world, and they always involve 3 elements. The first element is they always involve a whole lot of high-powered arcane spellcasters. The second element is they always offer a boat, or they always feature a boatload of very, very valuable treasure. Like mounds of treasure that would be enough for multiple dragons to be satisfied with. And the third element that is always mentioned in such rituals is practically armies of human sacrifice. And when I say human, I mean humans, elves, dwarves, halflings. So the sentient races, they, bunches of them get sacrificed because blood is always required in these kinds of rituals.
So I look at the governor and I just go, mass hysteria. Yeah, this it's elaborate. It's going to take a lot, and I mean a lot of blood is one major component of this ritual. Lots of treasure that was given, and lots of people that know how to cast, arcana magic. So it's not something that can be taken lightly, and it's not something that can be done overnight.
Oh dear. Well, we will put together a report, and we will alert the halls of all of the kings and monarchs and city-states that we can up and down the Sword Coast very quickly, and we will ask that we will send swift messengers to Waterdeep and ask that they inform the Blackstaff Tower so that their network of wizards can begin contacting other wizard towers to alert them of this danger. They may already know, but we cannot just presume that they do. This is too dangerous. Well, you all have done very well, and please accept these tokens of my appreciation. And of our appreciation, he waves his hands towards those leather purses or leather bags on the table.
Which were how much?
Each one of them, you open them up. They contain mostly gold, but some silver, and a few of them have some platinum. But when you have time to count them all out, each of you has 250 gold pieces.
Okay. So we add this to individual instead of group.
Yeah,
total.
each of you individually get 250. And then the group as a whole got from the monks 100 gold for bringing Leosin back. Because they obviously, you can tell by the way they're dressed. They're kind of simple folk, and they're not extravagant, and they seem to travel light and carry only what they really need. So they probably are not.
I added that 100. Sorry, I added that 100 gold pieces to our party treasure.
Okay, excellent. And then each of you get to add the 250 to your own treasure sheet. Okay, so let's. All right. So now, where are we on this sheet here? I am going to move the PCs just over here in this little grove, little happy trees over here. And then I'm going to bring Leosin up here as well. So time passes. Your meeting with the governor lasts a couple hours. You get done with that. Most of you are still sleepy because it took you most of the night to come back from the camp to Greenest. So you go back, and we'll say that each of you has enough time to essentially get a long rest. And then it's evening of this day, which this is, for those of you who care about the calendar, this is now the 2nd of Tarsak in the year 1489. Let us see. I'm going to put this in the Discord. Date on returning to Greenest is... Okay. So, 2nd of Tarsak. And in the evening, you guys are all given some quarters there in the keep, and there's a private dining room there, and you're told that your dinner is being served, and when you walk into this private dining room, Leosin is there. He has slept all day, and he still looks a little bit worse for wear, but he's got the strength to sit up and eat. And you all walk in, and he stands and he waves and smiles to you, and he says, "Oh, my friends, thank you. I fear I may have misjudged the situation there in the camp. It is fortunate that you were there after all. I may not have survived that ordeal without your help."
Glad to be of service.
And he looks at Valdor and he nods. He says, "Well, yes. Please sit and take your meal." And you can see that they've already brought out a bowl of broth for him, and he's got a couple of crusts of bread and some looks like some steamed vegetables, and then he's got this broth, and he's got some water there. As they bring out the food for you all, they bring out a couple of platters that have some casseroles, and then they bring out a big roast of beef, and they bring out a large roasted turkey that can be carved up, and there are some potatoes and some gravy and some savory sauces and stuff that are there in addition to the other thing. And there's a couple of pitchers of wine and a couple of pitchers of ale and a pitcher of water as well that are brought out to the table. So you all are kind of, it's sort of family style, so you guys can kind of grab what you want and fill your own plates and dig in. And it looks like Leosin is very content with just his very simple meal that he is having.
Bella's more than happily going to just dig straight into everything.
Okay.
Deserves it.
Yeah, Osprey's a little bit weird on this one too. He'll pile up a rather large amount of food together in his place and then start eating it.
Okay.
He is accustomed to sometimes having very large meals.
Okay. So you all begin eating and drinking, and Leosin lets you dig in for a few minutes, and he sits there rather quietly, and he just sort of smiles watching you all enjoy your meal. And then he says, "My friends, I am glad that they allowed me in here today, and that they let me speak with you. I must go and speak with the governor after I finish speaking with you, for I have learned some terrifying news about this cult. Tell me, what were you able to glean from your time there?" He looks at any of you that may be willing to tell him. And you can either tell him or you can just say, "We tell him the same thing we told the governor." It's up to you.
Yeah, we repeat everything we told the governor.
He nods gravely. And he says, keen observations, yes. And if you mention the fact that you were able to get a hold of some of the records, he looks very impressed. He says, very well done. That is more than I could have hoped that you would be able to accomplish. Of course, you did not have the chance to get into the inner sanctum where the leaders are, as I did. They took me in there to torture me. But what I learned in there was more important than anything they could ever get out of me. I learned that in that cave, they are intending to hatch dragon eggs.
Dragon
And
eggs are in that place?
he looks at Osprey and he nods gravely. And then he kind of fixes each of you with a stare. And he says, do you know what that means?
Bow mumbled underneath her breath. Do you mean like cobalt?
I know what it means. It means these bastards are going to make us go kill them.
And he says, well, someone needs to destroy those eggs before they can hatch.
Did you see eggs in that location?
No, but I heard enough of the instructions being given to the kobolds, and thank goodness that these leaders rely on stupid creatures like kobolds that do not know when to keep their mouths shut and when to speak. But they said that there is a nursery, and they were complaining that the hunters are not bringing enough meat for the guardians of the eggs. I gather that they have some kind of beasts or something that are guarding these eggs, and that there are a number of kobolds that are in charge of tending the guarding beasts and cleaning their pens and occasionally turning the eggs so that they are cared for as they need to be. You have done a great thing for me personally by releasing me from my bondage, my captivity. And you have certainly aided the people of Greenest. The stories I've heard today from those who tended me, they were all glowing about how brave you all were in helping to defend the keep and the town. But these cultists, they may be planning another raid. And if they are able to hatch dragons and start using even dragon wormlings in their raids, just think of how much more destructive they could be with several dragon wormlings against a village half the size of Greenest. It would be a massacre. Yeah, I know that is a lot to ask, but I'm willing to pay you for it. My order has accounts with the with the nobility across the Sword Coast. And I can give you a letter of credit, good to draw 150 gold for each of you from any noble at the seat of their power in any of the towns or cities across the Sword Coast.
To return to the camp where there are hundreds of enemies. This is stealth mission.
Yes. I mean, when you first came in, you were disguised. It was a clever plan to disguise yourselves as cultists. Now, I cannot vouch for whether you would be recognized as the same individuals or not. He looks at Bell, and he looks over where Ergal is sitting, and he says, those two would certainly be recognized. And they would be shocked, I'm sure, to see her walking after that vicious chop from the blade of Resmir.
They'll know like that comment.
Bell maybe lead them on a chase. Bell, good at running.
This is a plan.
Where is the cave? Was where you were? Different place within where you were?
Yes, the complex, I was led into the main hall of the complex and down and to the right and into what they had set up as a makeshift torture chamber where they took their time questioning and applying pain to special prisoners that they thought might have information that was valuable to them, such as myself. But I could see from entering that the complex is much larger and sprawls in several directions. I do not know where this nursery is, but the kobolds that came and talked to the leaders in my presence and went off ostensibly to duties towards the nursery, they went more to the left as opposed to the right where I was taken. And he says, I can give you a brief, I can give you a map of part of the complex.
So wait a second. You're asking us to go back to where we just came from, sneak into that cave, and find these dragon eggs. Am I hearing this correctly?
Sounds about right.
So you want us to go back to where we just came from, where we've got hundreds of cultists and kobolds already upset about what just happened. And the only thing really that changed from before that and after was the appearance of us. This seems like a difficult task.
Seems like a visit to Crazy Town, if you ask me.
We could almost just fight all of them. Instead, almost easier to fight them all. As long as we did it in sections.
I'm learning spells, but I'm not that talented.
With the help of the Almighty, everything is possible.
Perhaps maybe we can sneak in, get inside, and won't have to deal with many of them.
But it sounds like complex will be guarded.
Yeah, I don't know if we are much of a stealthy bunch.
Well, we sure as hell ain't walking through the front gate.
Unless there is some secret entrance that we don't know about.
And he says, as far as an entrance to and from the camp, I do not know of any such. I can only tell you what I have observed. I can only show you a map of what I have observed, the locations that I have been, and indicate on that the different ways that I have seen other folk going. Let me quickly draw you a map. And so he asks for a server to bring him some parchment and a quill, and they do. And so he begins working on something, and he will very quickly be able to bring you.
Also, 3 great leaders are there who work from inside. We would have to bring them out.
And I have seen what they have done. They are a formidable threesome.
Did he say the eggs were in the cave?
Yes, that's what he believes based on the conversations that they had.
We are told that there are weapons of mass destruction, but we do not know for 100% sure if they're there or not.
Can
Mr. Colin Powell disagrees.
how high was the cliff face that the cave was up against?
Those ranged anywhere from like 20-foot bluffs at the on the low end to maybe 50 feet at their highest. So they were high enough that you would hurt yourself if you fell all the way down, but they're not so high that you probably couldn't use ropes to get down. And it's natural bluffs. So somebody with a really good dexterity could probably climb it without a rope. Somebody who didn't have a great dexterity, as long as they had a rope, they could probably get up and down those bluffs without too much trouble.
I think our best bet's to scale that cliff, go in the cave and cut the head off the snake, and obviously destroy the eggs.
Sounds like a pretty good plan to me.
Okay, so I am going to add a handout. Camp cave entry. And then this is going to be for all players. And I am going to go to this, and I'm going... Oh, whoops, that's not what I want to do. I need to go to this, and this, and this. And then I'm going to save that. Okay. So when he gets finished drawing, he will show you this. And for the benefit of the stream, I'm putting it up on their computer or on the Twitch computer. He says the entry, which he points out, is up here. It's on the upper left of the partial map that he's drawn. that is where the entry to go into the cave is that you all saw. And at one point, when Mulek went over near there, he saw that there were some guards inside there that came out, when people got too close that didn't have any business going in there. The arrow that Leosin has drawn indicates where he saw the kobolds going. They went back off into that direction. And the X on the map is where they took him to torture him and question him. And then he had seen there was another chamber down south of that, and then it led off from there to somewhere else, but he didn't really see much of what was going on over there.
Wait, did he mention where we saw the keys, the eggs?
Yeah, that's that arrow. His best guess is that the nursery is back off that way somewhere.
Mr. Brock's son, Stringfellow can carry up to 400 pounds.
You said string?
Stringfellow is the name of the broom.
Ah, interesting. That may work a little better, yeah.
Yeah, you
Except
might be able to ferry a few of us down. I could probably cast a cloud to hide us if we go at night.
The only problem with that is if the first person gets down and draws attention, they're down there alone. I was thinking if we took, 4 or so ropes, we could slide down in unison. That way no one's down by themselves.
We could do that, and if someone slips or falls, Osprey, he might be able to be there on hand to catch you.
Yeah. Anyone that doesn't feel safe sliding down a rope could possibly take the broom instead.
Mother's wind has been with me. I believe I can use it to catch falling people.
This plan relies on surprise, though. It's the way around getting through every one of their forces. The goal would be to get in and kill the leaders and hope that the rest surrender afterwards before they notice what happens.
Broxon, leaders are very strong. Maybe avoid the leaders.
I don't see them not guarding those eggs. I mean, the time we spent there, they came out of the cave for not even 5 minutes.
But maybe they consider themselves too important or are chasing someone.
A distraction could work. I don't think they'll entirely split off all 3 of them, but it could help anyway.
And Leosin is fairly quiet. He says, "Oh, well, good. Let us finish our meal, and we can make the plans for what seems the best way of assaulting this area when we are done." And with that, I know it's a little early, but this feels like a good point while you guys are sort of thinking about this to take a bit of a break. So let's take I have 15 after. Let's go ahead and take 10 minutes, and we'll be back at 25 after the hour. And we will see what you guys want to do, or what plan you all come up with, or what seems to be the best course of action at this point. Whether you feel like this is something that you're able to do now, or whether you feel like you need to do something else before you dive into this. So I'll go ahead and put the music on for the benefit of the stream, and I will mute myself. And then if I get back before break is over, I'll chat a little bit with the viewers. right. 100 pardons. I was a little tardy getting back. All right. So yes, one of the folks in the chat asked what platform we were using, and I told him it was Roll20. So, all right. Question out of game before we jump back in: has everybody had a chance since we started to finish leveling up their character to level 3? Has anybody run into any issues?
Mulek is good.
Thaldor's good, and I took the Mastermind Archetype. Took me a minute. Like I said, I'm still trying to wake up.
Yeah. Vern,
Well,
did
Mike.
you figure out? Did you figure out everything that you needed to get your character leveled up to 3, or are you still?
It ain't pretty, but it might be functional.
Okay. All right.
I did a whole lot manually.
He broke it.
Yeah, that might well be the case. Okay, let me go and look at your. Oh, okay.
There's a lot of spells there that were not in the compendium between the cantrips and the first level. Also, the all the paladin spells aren't showing, because I think those are ones you can switch out. So that should probably be a thing.
Okay, let me go.
Yeah, I ran into the same issue with Artificer. I can prepare any of the Artificer spells during a long rest, but I'd have to manually put them all in to roll 20. So I've just put in the ones that I prepared. Over time, I can add the others.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking. I got my main paladin spell in there.
Yeah.
So it's like.
Okay. Whoops. Campaigns. Sword Coast Chronicles. Okay, so that's why it won't work for him. It's because of this, which is okay. I'm going to change this. Okay, so 27. So this will be 9 and 9. That needs to be 27. 27. Save the changes. Then I'm going to take the time to do something I didn't do at level 2. I'll go to each of your character sheets. Remove the old version of your token and replace it with the updated version that has your updated hit points and armor class, since those may have changed for you. Falazure, and is there anybody other than Falazure who is keeping all of their updated character stuff on D&D Beyond and not on Roll20?
I've got both. I've got the character in D&D Beyond and in Roll20.
Okay, is the Roll20 one updated to
Yes.
level 3? Okay.
Yes.
All right, cool. All right. So what the reason I ask is that if you keep it in Roll20, I can tie. They have these little ways that you can tie the armor class and the hit points to the character sheet, but it will only tie it to the character sheet in Roll20. This is another gap where Beyond 20 seems like a great idea, but it doesn't quite do everything you need it to. And if they could figure out a way of tying the stat bars from roll 20 into the stats on your character sheet in D&D Beyond, that would be amazing. So if anybody is listening from the Beyond 20 development team, please get on that and let me know when you have completed those updates, because I will be very happy.
I did update my roll 20, and it automatically updated my hit points for the roll 20 character sheet. I have it on D&D Beyond as well, but it updated it on there to level 3.
Okay. All right. Because in a lot of cases, I'm just double checking, and in a lot of cases, I did not have the token set to that. So when you update it on your character sheet, it doesn't necessarily update it on your token. In your case, Thaldor, no, okay, I don't have it tied yet, but let me see when I do tie it to hit points. Okay, yes, it does update, and then armor class. Okay, that has not changed. All right, so I'm going to go to Thaldor. I am going to edit, remove the current token, and use a selected token in its place. All right. Urgal. Okay, Urgal is set up, but Leslie's not here, so we figure that he will be okay. Let me just ask you, Vernon, new hit point total is 24 and current armor class is 18. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So yours is linking and updating. So let's go here. Let's see. HP. AC. Okay. It took me a long time to figure this out, but that's why I would, in my Sunday game, that's why, when somebody would give me a custom token, I would give them their custom token and I would apply it to the character, and then every time they would draw their custom token out, it would have the wrong armor class and the wrong hit points. Well, it's because I wasn't tying the stat bars to the correct thing, or because we were keeping all the stats in one place and it wasn't being automatically updated. So every time you update those values, you have to actually treat that as if it's a brand new token and apply that new token to the character sheet, or else it will always pull in the values that the token had at the time you saved it. So you could be a 10th level character, but your token would still reflect your first level hit points. And so you have to manually change it every time. This way, with what I'm doing, you only have to change it once every level. But you do have to remember to do, or more precisely, the DM has to remember to do that. Because I don't think it will let the players do that. All right. So, well, wait. Missing. Okay, good. And AC. That has not changed. Okay, so Brock. Yes, and then save. Excellent. Okay. So I believe that has everybody updated now, or at least everybody who's here tonight. And then we'll make sure that Urgal gets updated when Wesley is able to get back and join us. All right. So you guys have had a lovely repast along with Leosin And there has been dining and discussion and some drinking. And after you have eaten your fill of the main course, they bring out a cobbler. And this is a blueberry rhubarb cobbler that they have created. And it's got kind of the actually, it's sort of in vogue in the green fields, but for those of you that are from the big cities, it's kind of an old-fashioned style of crust where it's a rather thick crust on the top of the cobbler that is glazed in butter before it's baked, and it's they have some heavy whipped cream that is there with it that somebody has worked with a whisk for a long time to whip up, and it's nice. And they bring this cobbler out, and they bring out another pitcher of wine, another pitcher of ale, and then a large pot of coffee as well. And they have some cream and some sugar there for the coffee. And they, Leosin takes a dessert plate, and he eyes the cobbler very hungrily after eating a very spare meal. He says,
Osprey will cut him a piece.
"Oh, thank you. Thank you."
In respect for your great skill, sir.
Well, as I said, I feel like this last venture I perhaps chewed off more than I could.
Sorry to interrupt you, Gally, real quick. The Twitch is saying they only see the "Be Right Back" screen.
Yeah, I just noticed that. I just looked at my phone and saw the message. Okay, sorry about that. I am, for those of you that are new to the stream, I'm operating with 3 screens. I've got my DM view on my laptop in front of me, and because it's having to run a whole bunch of other things, I'm actually running the Twitch off of my desktop, which is set up as a player, a silent player that shows the player view of the screen. And then I have my phone set up in between, because that one is off at a 90-degree angle to my left. I have the phone set up at a little bit of an angle between the two that I can look at to see chat, but I have to get used to looking at the chat on a regular basis because it doesn't come up on the screen where I'm DMing. All right, so you guys have had a little bit of a discussion, and Leosin will ask over dessert, so do you have a plan whereby you think you might make an assault on the camp and try to deal with these eggs?
I wouldn't necessarily call it an assault.
I think this is going to take a lot of stealth.
Stealth is probably a good plan. And the mystic voice of the universe speaks through Leosin and says, "Okay, guys, what are you thinking?"
Thinking we're not going to be able to do the same thing twice, but I'm thinking from what was said earlier about going down the side of the hill right next to the cave, but we'd have to have watch to make sure that they're not coming in and out. I mean, it's going to be interesting.
Leosin, are you going to join us on this little adventure? Or if not, do you think you and your monks could cause a distraction?
He says, we might be able to cause a distraction. I need to get to Candlekeep as quickly as possible so that we can send messages. I'm trying to say messengers and messages at the same time. We can send messages to Waterdeep and the other capitals by the magics that we have there at Candlekeep. So that is where I was headed, and then off in pursuit of where I believe another cell of this cult may be operating farther to the north.
Well, if you could round up some of your monk buddies to cause some type of distraction, that might make it a little bit easier for us to sneak in. Take a look-see.
Okay. Did you have anything in mind, or should they improvise, as you would say?
Monk's very fast, man. You could go where those kobolds were. Keep busting a few heads until everybody starts chasing. Because Monk's very fast.
Maybe attack the watchtower and draw them away from the cave.
Yeah, that's them.
Get everyone's attention towards the entrance so that no one's looking behind, so that we could possibly sneak down from the back.
Yes, if my followers are up to it, that might just be the thing. And I may be able to prey upon their guilt. They, several of them came to see me today while I was resting, and they expressed remorse that when the fighting got thick here in the town, they fled towards the keep, which is exactly what I told them to do. So they were following orders. But still, when they found out I had been captured, and he put an emphasis on that word captured that, you guys know that was part of his plan all along, is to, get taken by them. But when I was captured, they felt a great deal of guilt that they should have done more to protect me. Of course, they did exactly what I asked. Perhaps I can use that guilt and their loyalty to convince them that this is something that is needed. Certainly, I believe it is needed. Certainly, it is a valiant effort. And as you say, they are swift of foot. They should be able to outrun any pursuit. And he says, and you all then plan to sneak into the cave entrance from the back of the camp?
It's the best way I can see to do it.
He nods, and he says, yes, I think that might well be a very good plan indeed. I think that might be a very good plan.
I'm gonna dress for this one. Osprey puts on his racing gear.
Speaking of gear, does everybody have their own rope?
I've got rope.
I've got 50 feet.
Need a piece of rope for each one of us. If we all go down together, then I think that's probably the safest way.
You don't need rope when you can fly. That's what my
Touche.
grandpappy always told me.
Theodore just puts his face in his hand and goes, yeah, okay, not all of us can cast spells, but way to go.
Oh, did not know your grandfather could fly. I have rope, yeah.
You also have your broom, so there's that. The ones that are going down the rope, I would say that we probably want some leather gloves so we can descend quickly.
So we need some climbing gear.
We do need someone with climbing gear, some pitons to anchor the ropes, yes. And again, gloves so we can not have to slowly inch our way down.
Not like we're broke. I guess we could buy some, climbing gear if anybody doesn't have any. And I need to pick up a few things anyways from the traders. So I guess we're taking a quick shopping trip to the town store, I guess.
Yeah, I do want to visit the quartermaster, someone here who may have some items that I am looking for.
Okay. So we can go ahead and do that.
For the record, I can't fly. That's just something my grandpappy used to say.
Yeah, your grandfather can fly?
No, he just used to say, why you don't need a rope if you can fly.
That's a fair analysis.
Oh, every man can fly. It's the landing that's the problem.
Brock's got it right.
My mother says everyone has wings.
Yeah, if anyone slips and falls, I might be able to assist.
I will catch them.
Theodore goes up behind Osprey, pats him on the back. Well, buddy, I don't think you have wings.
No, you have wings too, man.
I just shake my head and walk away.
Well, it sounds like we've got a plan.
Well, best one we can come up with on such short notice without getting all of us killed. That'd be preferable.
I think the tricky part is taking the cliff face. I would imagine they're going to have a few scouts guarding it, so we'll have to dispatch them quietly. Hopefully, we can do that.
Doesn't seem like a problem.
Well,
That was the easy part. Kobolds not very challenging.
do we know how far we have to climb down into the cavern?
You'll probably have to, once you get there and scout it out, you'll have to see what, exactly what the depth is or what the height of that is. But you know that it's not going to be any higher than 50 feet. It's going to be somewhere between probably 20 feet and 50 feet.
So I'm gonna ask around to see if there's a quartermaster or someone that deals with supplies and items and
Yeah, you can find that here.
I'm looking. So I just grabbed someone. I'm looking for some really nice someone who might have some incense or herbs, very fine herbs and incense and some charcoal.
Yes.
Anyone help me locate any of those items?
Oh, sure. Yeah, just right over there. And they point you to the correct stall or correct shopkeeper.
And so I go to the shopkeeper and ask, "Good evening, fine sir. I'm looking for some charcoal and incense and herbs and possibly a brazier. If you do you have anything like that on hand?"
Oh, yes. I believe that we do. Well, you're with the fellows that helped to save some of us the other night in the attack, aren't you?
Yeah. We helped a little bit with that.
Oh, wonderful. Well, thank you so much, sir. Thank you. I know that we would have lost a lot more folk if it hadn't been for the assistance of you fine people. Let me see here. And he goes and he consults his copy of D&D Beyond, looking for the price list of the equipment.
Yeah, I'm looking for about 10 gold pieces worth of charcoal and incense and herbs. So it's got to be very fine.
Okay, yeah, you can find that, no problem. Brazier. I don't even know if one of those.
Yeah. That reminds me, I gotta buy a gem. Or do we already have those gems? Do we have gems?
Look in the party treasure. I think we've got some
I need a 50 gem. That's all.
Yeah, you can find one in there.
Oh.
Next.
For the skull bomb.
Okay, you know what? I'm just going to give it a price. I'm going to say that a brazier is going to be. Do you want a copper brazier? Do you want a
brass?
A brass brazier?
Yes.
Okay, that'll be 3 gold pieces.
Oh, great. So I hand out 13 gold pieces for all the items. Will this be enough? Will this cover?
Oh, yes, certainly. Thank you. Pleasure doing business with you.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
And what else do people need to buy? So we have a gem from one. We have the materials for a ritual from Mulek. What else do people need?
I need something a little bit more shady than what they're buying, actually.
Okay.
And hey guys, we've got some equipment in the party treasure, so I don't know if anyone will buy that here, but take a look and you might be able to sell some stuff.
Oh yeah.
We've got some scimitars and some leather armor.
Oh yeah, all stuff like that. They will buy from you. Do you want to quickly give me a list of what you want to sell?
Sure. Let's see. 7 leather armor.
Okay, so let's go to leather. 5 gold pieces each.
And does anyone need any scimitars? We've got 4 scimitars. Oh, actually, we've got 7 scimitars.
I'm good.
All right. 7 scimitars.
Okay, the scimitars are going to be 12 gold, 5 silver each.
Oh, wow.
Scimitars are fancy.
Yeah, we've got. Anyone need any daggers? Extra daggers? We've got 9 daggers.
No, I've still got mine for now.
All
Anybody
right.
else need them?
I've got 9 daggers.
We'll give you 1 gold piece for each dagger.
All right. And then slings. I know, Osprey, you claimed one of the slings. We've got 8 more slings.
8 more slings. You will get 4.
Oh, actually, sorry, 18. Oh man, I found more stuff that we have.
Okay.
18 slings.
Okay. You will get 5 copper for each sling.
All right, I think that's it. So I will update our party treasure.
Okay. So Dorzafir,
He's at home.
I'm sorry, not Dorzafir, Thaldor. I hear that voice and just I always think of that
Dozafia
way.
has a British accent.
Yes.
Sophia.
All right. So what were you looking for, and did you want to say it out loud, or did you want to put it in Discord PM, or how?
No, I can say it out loud. I'm just wondering.
Okay. Well, you can tell me what you're looking for. I can tell you if you find it.
As my buddy was saying in the chat, human soul. No, I don't need that. What I need is I need a disguise kit, a forgery kit, and a poisoner's kit.
Okay, disguise.
I'm saying something a little bit more shady than just regular stuff.
Okay, yes, you can find a disguise kit. There's actually a community theater, and here in Greenest, and so there is a shop that sells disguise kits, 25 gold each.
That's fine.
And then what was the next one?
A forgery kit.
Okay, the forgery kit. Let me do some rolls here. What's the percentage chance that you would find that?
Why does forgery need a kit?
Papers. Well, my imagination, it would have certain papers in it, certain inks, maybe some stamps, certain things that allow you to,
That's kind of my point. It's writing equipment. It's like nothing that can enable you to forge.
But it would have special things that you just couldn't get off the street. It would have maybe some thief or somebody that's worked higher up in a thieves guild or something has made like a royal stamp that you could only get from them unless you were a royal, stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay. Just Vern, whether we think it would need it or not, it is a piece of equipment in the game, so we'll just roll with it. In fact, Thaldor, as you're walking along looking, you notice someone after a while who is kind of just observing you, and he walks up and he says, "Oh, it's an absolutely lovely day, isn't it? The scintillating pattern of the leaves as they shimmer in the breeze is just wonderful on the trees today, isn't it?" And you kind of recognize thrown in there a little thieves' cant that basically says, "Hey, buddy, what are you looking for? Maybe I can hook you up."
I'm going to try to be creative as this is possible for a little RP. Why, yes, they're very scintillating. Almost if you could go and pluck them off the trees to use them. God, I had this just a minute ago. You almost like you could pluck them off the trees and use them as an instrument.
Oh, yeah. As though you might pluck the strings of a lute with a leaf instead of with a pick. Am I picking up what you're laying down?
As a writing utensil.
Oh yeah. Crush them into a fine powder like an ink that and then that ink just might look like our good governor's signature, mightn't it?
Or anything I want it to be. But yes.
Oh, yeah. Hey, yeah. I do have something that I could help you with. Come on. And he takes you to a shop that sells art supplies, and he speaks thieves' cant to the shop owner. And the shop owner takes you into the back where he has some special items, and he does have a forgery kit. And he says, friend, he says, I'm gonna have to tack on the finder's fee for your guide that led you in here.
That's fair.
So,
I even give him an extra gold just for getting me here.
okay, cool. So he will sell you a forgery kit for 20 gold.
Make it 30. Give 10 for the guy. So 20. No, make it 29, and that'd be, I guess, 9 extra gold to the guy that brought me here.
Okay, all right.
Because I'm going to tell him, if I'm ever back in town and I need something, find me.
And he says, righto, brother man. Thank you.
Hey, got to spread the wealth, brother.
Absolutely. And then what was the third thing you were looking for?
A poisoner's kit. So far I'm up to 25, 40, 50, 60. No, hold on. 40. Hold on. I'm doing some quick math. I should be up to 54 so far.
54 plus the one you gave to the guy. So
55.
Yeah.
Good number. And yeah, and a poisoner's kit's the last thing I need. Those are the things that are not in my inventory.
And so no surprise at the same art supply shop. It's like, yeah, man, there's nothing to drive up the value of art like the death of the artist. Yeah, so I can hook you up. And he brings out what looks like a rosewood brush box for painter's brushes.
Ooh, it's pretty.
Yes, and when he opens it, there indeed is a little tray, a very shallow tray that has some brushes in it, and it's very obvious that tray is intended to come out. And he says, now you see, in a normal brush box, down below this would be the some of the materials that you would use to help clean your brushes, and some rags and things like that you would just carry while you were going to your next to paint your next canvas. But this one is very special, and he pulls out the tray, and you see there are vials and tinctures and powders and things in there. And he says, now, you know as well as I do, got to be very careful handling this stuff. But this'll be exactly what you need. Since you were generous, there's no finder's fee on this one. I'll just charge you 50 gold for this.
It's fair. Also, just to keep up appearances, can you actually give me some canvas and some things for painting? And I do quotations, just to keep up appearances with the rest of my group.
Oh, absolutely, we can. Yes, I do business with all of the fine artists here in town, and all of the fine after dark artists, if you catch my meaning. And he gives you a little wink.
Yeah.
And so he will do that. The rest of that stuff he'll sell you for another like 2 gold.
Cool.
So 55 and 50 is 105. The 2 gold for the canvases and stuff. You're up to 100 and 7 gold.
I'm gonna round that off to 110 and give the shopkeep 3 extra gold.
He gives you his most winning smile and a gracious bow. Thank you, sir. We will be sure to be at your service anytime you're back in Greenest if your travels bring you this way again.
Thank you, sir. And spread it around too. Any other people in the network that you know, just let them know I might be that way.
Very good. Will do. And so is there anybody else that needs anything?
Yeah, you wouldn't happen to have a bear claw necklace by chance?
A bear claw necklace. Are you asking anybody in particular, or?
Yeah, the chapeau. I just realized I needed this. I'm going to retcon and say I just walked in after them.
Oh, okay. So you're going into the art supply.
No. Where the main general shop that Luck was in.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, let me see here.
And just for everyone's info, I added into the chat. I divided the loot. There'll be a little bit left over in the main loot inventory, but everyone can add those coins to their personal. And I divided by 7. I included everyone.
Okay, so
I don't see it. Oh, you mean in the game? There it is.
Yeah, and roll 20.
Not bad. Or not bad.
Okay. Let me take a quick peek at this. Aha. Oh, interesting. Yeah, actually, they will actually send you over to another shop that is run by a couple of ladies, and they sell all kinds of jewelry and crafts and those types of things. And so when you walk in, you ask them for a bear claw necklace.
I do.
Okay. They will show you an assortment of 3 of them that they have. One is a rather large necklace that, it could be tied off to make it a little bit shorter, but if you put it on without tying it off, it'll probably hang down like to about your navel. Even on a guy your size, so it's a pretty big necklace, and that one has 7 large bear claws on it, arranged kind of so it looks like if you were wearing it and holding it next to your chest, the largest one would be kind of on the left and then moving smaller towards the right. And it's got above the actual claws, it's got kind of a beaded pattern. It's kind of this round thing that's just sort of abstract pattern in it. Then the bear claws are below it. Then and that one they will tell you will cost you 15 gold. Then there's another slightly smaller one that has 5 bear claws on it, and those are arranged sort of symmetrically, so that the largest claw is in the middle, and then to either side they're a little bit smaller. And that one doesn't have quite as elaborate a beaded thing, but it's got a couple of feathers on it. and it's a little bit shorter. And the necklace itself is kind of has a little bit more of a design on it than the first one. And that one, they will tell you, is 10 gold. And then there's a third one that it looks like all of the claws on this one are very small, like almost like all the claws were taken from a bear cub or a juvenile cub.
I'm immediately going to point at the second one and say, that's the one.
Okay. All right. They will be happy to sell that to you.
You said 10 gold?
10 gold, yes.
Over 15. Good day.
Oh, thank you, sir. And come back anytime.
I'll walk out.
All right.
Osprey went to the temple.
Okay.
He's preferring something from Tyr, actually.
Okay.
Expects the Shanti if he can't find Tyr somewhere.
Okay. When you say you're finding Tyr, you would be looking for a shrine of Tyr or a temple to Tyr. Okay. All right. This town, the only actual temple is the temple to Shantae. There are a couple of shrines, and actually in the keep they have a shrine to Tyr. Because some of the warriors venerate Tyr and follow his precepts, and so it's just like a little alcove. It has a couple of icons there and a few items of offering that have been left, and clearly it's kept in good condition, so somebody here looks after it, and it seems to be treated with respect. There's a couple of votive candles that are unlit, but they're new, and it's clear that candles are burned here often because there's a little bit of wax buildup around the base of the candles where some of them have burned down before.
Good. That's about it then. He's contemplating because he told lies before.
Okay.
He's visiting for that reason.
Okay. You meditate on that, and Tyr is silent in your mind at the moment, and that's not unusual. Tyr, in your experience, Tyr can sometimes show up in your mind in unexpected times. Sometimes he will give you a vision.
Wow. Okay. I thought it was the mother or one of the aunts. I didn't.
Oh, well.
Because it's a spiritual guide.
Right. Your character is a paladin of Tyr, correct?
Yeah, but he's SMR, and if you remember, he might actually be on Tyr's radar. He would be a subject of some gossip amongst gods.
Yeah, in your experience, there are a lot of people who are followers of Tyr who will say in earnest that they have had visions or messages from Tyr. And so you, as somebody who's kind of more of a celestial type of person, you have come to think of these messages as from Tyr, but there's a rational part of your mind that's like, yeah, this is kind of like probably one of Tyr's messengers through one of his, chosen angels that kind of is assigned to watch over certain things, and that when they see something happening, they will send a message to a particular follower. Saying that it comes from Tyr is not inaccurate because, there's like a chain, but it's not like Tyr himself shows up and says, "Hey, buddy, what's going on?" It's like, yeah. So getting back to what I was saying before, messages from Tyr sometimes come in, manifest in dreams, or they manifest in the heat of battle. They will occasionally manifest in quiet moments, and usually that's either a portent of something really, really good or something really, really bad. So going to a shrine and contemplating or meditating on what the worshiper considers their own missteps, it would not be uncommon for a Tyr to sort of enjoy allowing them to wallow in their own thoughts. It's like he might just feel like that's kind of punishment enough, right? As long as the person's heart is, as long as the person is there because they are feeling, some sort of contriteness for not being always following the path of justice. Now, if that starts to be something that happens to a follower and they start to enjoy the feeling they get when they do that, then maybe they will find there's just no response from Tyr at all at some point.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened to his aunt there a couple times.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right. So, anybody else need to do shopping, or are we ready to go?
Did we get our climbing gear?
Gloves.
Oh.
I thought
So how many ropes do we need?
Let me check my inventory.
I think everyone has their own rope, but maybe grab a few extra just in case.
I've got rope. I've got pittons. I've got 10 pittons.
Yeah, I've got 10 pittons too.
Do we need any hammers?
I've got a hammer.
Okay.
I've also got a hammer. Just need gloves.
Okay.
We can even use we can't find gloves. We can use some sort of cloth.
Yeah, you guys can find leather gloves for that farmers would use for working on their farm tools. They're nice and sturdy, but they're supple. They're gonna be flexible, and they'll give you a nice grip, but they're gonna protect your hands from the sharp edges of tools or potential of rope burn. If you start doing any crazy things on the rope. So yeah, you can find any sets of those that you need. Those will be 3 copper for a pair.
Just take it out of the group fund and just buy a set for everybody.
Okay.
Unless Osprey, do you plan on using your broom?
Yeah, Osprey's got his broom, and he's got rope already.
Party treasurer has hardly anything, guys. I've divvied it all out to everybody.
I'll take it.
No. Leave it in the party thing for me.
Too late for me. I already added it.
Yeah, I've already divided it up.
I'm gonna take 50 gold because barbarian life is cheap as hell. I'm gonna take 50 of my gold and put it back in the party fund. Make it 55 to make it even.
How much was it?
Gold.
How much was it divvied up to everybody?
I put it in chat on Roll20.
Got you.
Literally not much I'll have to buy. So
Are we all stocked up in potions and stuff too?
I think we did use a few potions last time we were at that camp, so you guys could buy any potions that you want.
I've got 1 potion of healing. Gloves.
All right. So, anything else we need to buy?
Who bought the gloves? Because if not, I'll just buy all the gloves.
I put 55 gold in the party fund. It can be taken out of that.
It was just 3 copper each, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just took 3 copper out of mine and just added gloves.
Okay.
Go ahead and keep the 55 in there just for future.
Yeah. You guys all have plenty of copper. I just gave everyone 46 copper pieces. So.
Okay, so everybody mark off 3 copper from the copper that you have and give yourself gloves. Gloves are not an actual inventory item, but I'm just saying that they are there. So you just mark them down on your character sheet that you have leather gloves.
Gives us, it gives us
Fighting gloves already.
It gives us super advantage when we climb down the cliff. So.
The point is, I'm not climbing down. I'm sliding down. So.
Oh, gotcha.
All right. So, I always feel like when we have one of these sessions that I wish we had the rights to the, or I wish we had a license from the band Bare Naked Ladies, so that we could play.
It's been 1 week since you looked at me.
No. The shopping. You guys remember the shopping? Everything's gonna be all right when we go shopping. There was a podcast that I used to listen to that had that as a theme song of one of their segments.
Story here. People at the castle, they would come by and ask me over and over again, the same questions from different people, How long have you been working here? And I always say, yeah, it's been about 6 years, my lord. Every once in a while, I'll say, yeah, it's been.
All right. Anything else? Okay. Then we are ready to advance our map. So, you talk to the monks, and actually they come to you. They come to find you the following morning, and they are very eager. It's clear that Leosin has talked to them about, for the way they talk, they don't know exactly what it is, but they understand that there's something very important in that cave at the camp that you need to tend to, and that they are to provide a diversion, and he's sort of given them an idea what that diversion should be. So they are ready to set out. They travel light. They don't even wear backpacks. They wear kind of belt pouches that seem to have all of their worldly possessions other than the quarterstaff that they all seem to use as both a walking stick and something to fight with. And they are ready to go, and they just have like simple robes and sandals, and they're ready to hit the road whenever you are. So you travel And let's say when you get like a mile away from the camp, everybody go ahead and give me a perception check, and if your roll is lower, tell me after you roll what your passive perception is.
So during the night, I took those materials and I cast Find Familiar.
Okay, and what familiar?
So I've got an owl, another owl. His name is His name's Casper.
Casper. Okay.
Are you sure it wants to be an owl?
You are not going to touch my owl.
Hey, that reminds me of another owl that I knew.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Uncle Abinadom had an owl as a familiar.
Okay.
So,
are you sure you don't know him?
Dado, we can talk later.
That's fair.
Okay, I'm going to look in here.
Goodness.
There we go.
13 is my passive, so I rolled my passive.
I typed
Okay.
16, but I meant 15. I don't know how I did that.
Okay.
You typed 15. I'm the one who put 16.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to do. Tell me what this.
It's going to be similar, exact same as last.
Yeah. But tell me what the name is.
Casper. Casper. Casper.
Casper.
Should have been edgy instead
Okay.
of the
Okay. So
Don't act surprised if you see owl feathers laying around.
Now, the moment you bite into it, it would disappear. It's a familiar. It wouldn't give you any substance.
is this?
Oh, then I hope that Falliger gives her.
A fey owl.
It's a fey owl. Okay.
Yeah.
So Casper, fey.
Cats eat birds, man, but they run from
Oh. Okay, and then we will do that. We will do that. We're going to say, we're going to edit this. We're going to call it, and that's Casper with a C.
Yeah.
Okay, Mulek. All right. Save. All right. So you now should have in your journal, you should have a creature called Casper.
All right.
Do you see that?
Yes, but it doesn't allow me to roll on. Let's see. Is there a way we can?
We'll figure it out after the session.
All right, that's fine.
So won't take up any more time with that.
Yep.
All right. So back to the perception checks. All right. So we have a 14. We have a 13, a 12, a 15, a 16. All right. So, and Bell's passive is 16. Okay. All right. Okay. So, Brock, Bell, and Falliger. The three of you, as you get about a mile away from the camp, you notice some crisscrossing tracks where it looks like small groups of people have kind of been moving away from the camp recently, and some of them are heading off. They come this way, and some of them veer off towards the west, and some of them veer off towards the east. And then you realize that you've crossed the trails of a couple of other groups of people, and these tracks are relatively recent, like they've happened in the last day. So these tracks have been made since you were at the camp the last time.
Could I use survival to take a closer look and see if I can identify any sort of traits or whatnot?
Sure. And the tracks look like they're headed away from the camp.
Wow.
Yeah, with a 6, I mean, they're boots. They look like they're pretty much boots, but that's about it.
Can I give him the help action?
Well, you could make a or survival check yourself.
Can I sniff them out?
I've probably definitely noticed it. I'll check myself.
Sniffy sniffers.
Okay. Yeah, anybody who wants to, go ahead and make a survival check. Okay.
My sniffy sniffers is still under impairment.
Yeah.
That's not the right word, but you know what I mean.
Convalescent.
I think he got a little bit too much catnip.
Yeah. All right. Mulek.
Bill's hair's giving me allergies.
You can tell that there are these are primarily human boots. They're the size of humans, and the weight of the depression means that they're too heavy to be elves, and they're probably too light to be half-orcs, so they probably are humans.
They're human footprints.
Yeah, and with your 17, you guess that there's somewhere between 5 and 10 individuals that were headed off that way, and it looks like they probably passed within the last 12 hours.
I share that with the group.
Okay. All right. So then you keep going, and you point out as you get close enough to where you feel like you need to start being stealthy. You point out to the monks where, the direction that the tower is, the guard tower, and they say, okay, are you going to stay here until you hear the sound of fighting, or are you going to just immediately head off on your own errand?
Well, we'd like to be on the cliff face before, or at least when you make this distraction. If you could give us 2 hours, that should be enough.
Oh, okay. Yes, fine. So they go ahead and they find a little secluded grove where they would not be seen by anybody, walking casually by. Somebody would really have to look for them, and they kind of hide themselves away over there, and they will wait the allotted time. So you guys begin to circle around the camp, heading towards the other end where the cave is, and you notice that as you're going, you kind of look in the direction of the camp, and there's no smoke from any campfires, which strikes you as a little unusual, because you would think that in a camp this size, there's probably some kind of cook fires going almost around the clock. And it seems pretty quiet.
When I see that, I'm gonna snap my fingers, and Casper's gonna appear but above and out of reach of Bell.
Okay.
And I'm gonna command it to fly high and take a look down into the camp. I'm just gonna have it communicate to me what it sees.
Okay. Well, then you get a very strong image in your mind. You get a very strong image of a camp that is largely deserted. In fact, you see several areas of tents or that were there before that look like they were burned. You're not sure whether they were burned accidentally or whether they were burned on purpose. There are some places where tents have been left up and other places where it's clear that tents were, but they've been stricken. And there are 4 individuals, humans, that you can see, and they are each over a carcass of something that looks like an elk or a deer, and they appear to be dressing the carcass, as though perhaps it's something that they have brought back from a hunt of some kind. You, in fact, do not see yourselves standing in the middle of the camp. So I'm going to just put you there on the other layer, but you do not see that. And you see that command or that tent where the lizard tamers were, that there's no activity around it. There's no lizards there. There's nothing. And the 2 guard towers, the one at the entrance, and then you see there's one over here on this shelf, or this little overlook. Those are empty. There's nobody standing in those guard towers.
Can I command the owl to kind of fly down to about right here and have Casper peer into this cave entrance to see if it can see, as far as it can see into there, to see if it sees any activity?
Okay, so you want him to go down to it. Whoops, I'm going to use this tool here. You want him to go down there and look. Okay.
Oh, he's gonna have to be he's gonna be closer than that, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. So he can see like what is his range? Is his range 60 or 120?
I think it's 120. Let me look. It doesn't show on that one. It is 120 feet dark vision.
Okay. So you have to be about right here.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he sort of flies down and peers in there, and he can see a couple of 2-leg shapes. Okay. Is the impression he gives you.
Okay. So as he gets within range of me, gives me those images, I tell the rest of the party. The camp appears to be largely deserted. There's a couple of there's about 4 humanoid creatures. Looks like they're working on some dead, some carcasses of some type. And inside the cave, there appear to be some other humanoid type creatures. But other than that, the rest of the area looks deserted. Some of the tents have been burned, and some are still remaining upright. But again, no other activity. So I don't know if that changes our strategy.
We still have to go in that cave and verify whether the eggs are there or not.
Yeah, but maybe we won't need to scale down this wall. These four humanoids, I think we might be able to take from the entrance. The guard towers are also empty.
It will take just as long to go back around to the front than it will to just go ahead with our plan, I'm afraid, at this point.
I have to agree with Brock on that. Plus, DM, what time of day is it?
You made pretty good time coming here, so it's you didn't have to have that fight at lunchtime, so it's early afternoon. It's like maybe 2:00 in the afternoon.
Yeah, hopefully they can't see us because we'd be easily spotted coming down the side of this cliff face with the time of day it is.
Yeah, I thought we were going at night.
Yeah, there's nothing that says that just because you got here you have to do this immediately. You can wait until nightfall if you prefer.
True.
Well, no, now that it's abandoned, we might as well just scale down the damn cliff. If those guys see us, we'll fight them. If not, yeah.
Let's do it.
All right.
Okay, so now what I'm going to do... I'm not going to do that because that would be the same problem I just complained about before. I'm going to go back to the previous map. I am going to collect all of your tokens. I'm going to copy them. I'm going to come back over here. And I am going to paste them right above the cave entrance. Okay. All right. So you guys are all on this ledge up here. For the benefit of everyone watching, we are over here. All right. So there's a couple of different ways you can get down. You can either try to hop down over here and then go down over here and come back around, or you can go straight down next to the cave, or you can kind of partly go down here and try to climb down this pile of rocks. It's up to you. But you tell me what you want to do, and I will tell you what, if any, rules are required for you.
I'm going to go ahead and anchor my rope here and then just slide right down it.
Okay, then in that case, I am going to need
I
you...
will wait. If anyone's looking to do the same, I'll wait to do it at the same time as them. Slide anyway.
Okay. So we know what Brock wants to do.
Yeah.
Falliger, what are you going to do?
Gonna go down the rope.
Okay, so the same thing as Brock. Tie a rope off and then slide down, or climb down. One of the two.
That or
I'll tell you that if you want to slide down the rope and be fancy, that's going to be an acrobatics check. If you want to use the rope and climb down, that will be an athletics check. So.
Okay, well, Falliger is just he's gonna look at the party and well, I don't know about you boys, but this rope shit's for the birds, and he'll cast Slowfall. Or Featherfall.
Oh, Featherfall. Okay, all right. So he's going to do that. Don't do that yet, but you're going to do that. Mulek, what are you going to do?
I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing Brock's doing. Now, do I need to put a piton in the ground to anchor?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to hammer a piton in the ground, tie off my rope, and I'm going to slide down, just rappel down really quick.
Okay, so that is going to be, when it comes time to do that, it's going to be an acrobatics check for you. Thaldor, what are you going to do?
I'll follow Brock and Mulek's route and just hammer a piton in, but I want to do it stealthily.
Okay, so you can try that as I will ask you to make both an acrobatics check and a stealth check.
Can do.
Okay. Then let's see. Osprey, how are you going to get down?
Osprey really wants to do the athletic thing, but he decides that it's better to go down ahead of everybody and play goalie. So he goes down on the broom.
Okay. All right. And last but not least, Belle. What do you want to do?
She'll glare at Oyo leaving her there, and she's going to go find his own way down. But would our cat claws count as climbing? Or would it just be easier just to slide down?
Oh, yeah. No. Because of the cat's claws, you do not need to make a climb check. You just say, I'm going to climb down, and as long as you say you're going to climb down at your climbing speed, you don't need to make any checks.
Well, I get to put slow fall on 5 targets.
Oh, wow.
Or feather fall.
Okay. All right.
Dang, there's more than 5 of us.
So, all right. Those of you who are sliding down, go ahead and make acrobatics checks.
I pop a pill before I do it to give me courage.
Okay.
Isn't Taj like doing his thingy thing on people?
Well, he might need to for Brock.
My question is, when he does that, do we know that it's active? Like, can I just let go of the rope?
Oh yeah, I just voiced it in character that I said this shit's for the birds, and
Well, that I as a half orc barbarian, I wouldn't know what the hell you're talking about.
I put it on. Let's see, I put it on everybody except for Belle and who else is bad at athletics? Mulek?
I got a 15 on acrobatics. I don't know if that's good enough or not.
Okay, you guys are using a rope. So the a rope may lowers the DC considerably. Brock, you go and you start sliding down, and then you think, oh man, we need to be quiet. And so you make the mistake of loosening your grip a little bit on the rope so you can be quiet. And you suddenly realize you're falling, and you fall about 10 feet and your eyes get wide, and then suddenly you realize you're just floating down. And Falager is over there floating down, looking at you, and he just kind of shakes his head at you as...
I was going to say, how does one fall down a 20-foot cliff stealthily?
So, yeah.
Oh, wait. We're going down a cliff? I thought we were actually going into the... My bad. Doesn't matter. I cast it anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the whole reason for the rope. Okay, so you guys are all now down here in front of the cliff. And... yeah, Urgal gets down because he was with you. So you. I guess I should ask what your attire is. Are you wearing your normal adventuring gear? Are you wearing those cloaks, or what?
Yeah, the cloaks. We're cloaked up.
Okay.
At least I'm cloaked. I would put my cloak on before.
Okay. Anybody else?
They'll have her anger.
That's a hell of a retcon, but I'm going with it.
Okay. Yeah, I should have asked you. We got busy doing some other stuff, and I forgot to ask you guys. So, it's my fault for not asking how you were going to be dressed. So
yeah, okay. So Osprey he intended to wear his more adventuresome racing stuff, but he throws the cloak on over.
Yeah, he probably would get some looks from the others. You realize we're trying to be stealthy here.
Because
Not
he's thinking
judge.
he's going to be the one to lead them away. That's why.
Oh, okay.
But
All
when there
right.
wasn't anybody there, when they learned that, it's like,
Okay.
When Casper looked in the cave, could I tell if there was a light source in there, or was it pitch dark?
It was pretty dark. There wasn't a direct light source in there. And it's daytime outside, and he's looking into a dark area, so his dark vision will work. But just as like you're standing outside and you're trying to look through an open door into a dark room, it's like, okay, it looks a whole lot darker than it would be if you walked in there.
Right.
Because of the contrast from the light outside. So yeah, he can't really tell.
All right. I'm just going to cast a light on it. I'm going to pick up a small stone and cast a light on it, and then I'm going to just kind of be covering it up until I need some light.
Okay. Well, you do that, and then you hear a voice that issues a bit of a challenge. And it says, "Hey, what are you doing?" And as the voice speaks, then you see, whoops, come here. Okay, you see, whoops, dadgummit. Go to the right layer, you. Thank you. You see two guys dressed in armor come out, and they start to say, "Hey, you guys are supposed to have left. Wait a minute. Who are you?" And they will begin to pull their weapons out. And these guys are wearing cloaks that identify them as part of the cult. They are armed with a heavy crossbow over their backs, kind of held in a, with kind of a bandolier. It's kind of hooked onto a bandolier that goes across their chest from one shoulder to the other hip. They've got a long sword at one hip, a short sword at the other hip. Actually, the long sword scabbard is in one hip, and they have the long sword out, and they're wearing splint mail. And they issue a challenge to you, and they seem to recognize that you guys don't look like you belong around here. And then my question for you is, do you want to try fighting them tonight, or do you want to pick up with fighting them next week, because we're almost at time?
Yeah, it's already too late, I think.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So you guys have reached the camp, found it mostly abandoned. I will give you this. If anybody kind of looks over their shoulder back and towards where the people are dressing those deer carcasses, they don't seem to be paying any attention to what's going on down here. These guys are not being quiet, so presumably their voices would carry that far, but they're kind of like, well, maybe they wouldn't carry that far. It's 500 feet, so. Yeah, that's quite a ways away. They don't seem to have taken any notice, at least. All right.
It's a real cliffhanger.
Bum. Hey, does Mulek have inspiration?
No, he doesn't.
Okay, and he still doesn't.
Burn.
He's like, did you have inspiration? I do. Well, then give it up.
yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna do. It's like, okay, yeah, you still don't have it.
Yeah, it's been a couple of weeks since you did that joke.
All right. Well, hey, chat. Thank you guys for being in the stream tonight on Twitch and hanging out with us. We play every Thursday night, 8 p.m. We go from 8 until about 11 p.m. Eastern. And this Sword Coast Chronicles is kind of a survey, visiting skipping through some of the content of the published 5e adventures for folks who haven't played it, and for folks who may be wondering why all these things are happening in the same part of the world at the same time. I had that curiosity, and so I decided there had to be a reason, and this game is going to explain the reason behind why all of these things are happening at once. So, as you can tell, we're just getting started. The characters are level 3. And before we head off, is there anything that any of the players want to mention to folks in the chat? Anything that's coming up this week that you have going on that would be interesting?
Just a normal Friday night for me.
Okay, yeah.
It's Thursday.
He said this week.
Yeah. Normal Friday night.
I'll be streaming on my Twitch.
Friday now?
Okay.
Thanks.
Oh, well, Dorsapir or Michael, what's your Twitch if people want to check it out?
Twitch.tv/Dorsapir.
Okay. All right, cool.
James is going to be in the Outer Banks next week. I think I'll have internet connection, and I'll have a laptop with me. So, yeah, we'll see.
Okay.
Fishing trip?
A family fishing trip, or what's going
yeah,
on?
just a family beach trip.
Oh, nice. Yeah. That's good. It's today it was actually a little cooler here. I'm just outside of Orlando. And the temperature was in the mid 80s today. It rained off and on during the day, so that kept the temperature down. Of course, it also made it feel like a sauna every time you go outside.
In other words, it was July.
Yeah, July in Florida. But it's one of those July days where the rain starts at like 10 in the morning, so it doesn't ever really have a chance to get super, super, super hot. It rained like at 10, and then it rained like at noon, and then it rained like at 1:30, and then it rained at like 5 o'clock. So it was off and on cloudy during the day. As for me, I will be running my normal Sunday game, 2 p.m. On Sunday right here on this Twitch channel. I can't remember whether I've updated the slate on the Twitch to say 2 p.m. instead of 2:30. We recently switched the times. So we now play 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah. Well, you've got it Sunday 2:30.
Okay, so I'll need to update that slate before Sunday. But I will be doing my usual social media announcements and everything before we go live. All right, everyone. Thank you for your time. Thank you for hanging out, and hope you have a wonderful week. Take care, and for the stream, this is good night.
Good night.